Hello and welcome to Sassy and City, the podcast where we talk about the joys and issues around sustainable living. Today I have Laurie Nicoll with us, and
Hello.
She is a vegan, planet-friendly salon owner. I think that's a good way of wording it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. The salon is Lacquered and Stripped. If you guys follow me, you know I spend half my life there. I've also worked on-off receptionist work there, so really love it. I think it's an amazing business. And I thought it'd be really cool to get a vegan business owner on and just kind of talk about creating a vegan business, creating a planet-friendly business, how that all is, because it sounds stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful. I'm not even going to lie, it is very stressful.
Yeah, there are so many layers. But yeah, starting from the get-go, what made you want to open a salon?
So I was in the beauty industry from sort of the age of 16 onward, on and off. Mm-hmm. And then I got a job, my first proper real beauty salon job when I was 21. And it was for a business that basically was completely the opposite of what I believed in. Okay. But it was the only job I could get at 21. I was like, I'll take it. It's good pay, really good pay for being that age and that inexperienced. And it just basically opened my eyes to how bad it can be and how little care actually goes into the product side of things.
Okay.
And
so it's kind of like going undercover in a way. Obviously, you're getting paid well
to
do a job. But
yeah, and it basically highlighted to me that I didn't want to go to a salon like this, so why would I work in one? And then I realised there are no salons that I wanted to work in, so then I left. And then I basically left beauty for a while, as in actual beauty itself, and I worked for quite a well-known booking system.
Yeah.
And then I thought, this is going to be fun, because then I get to see the other side of it. And then that also highlighted to me that loads of salons aren't vegan or cruelty-free or even care about it. So that's when I was like, right, I think I need to do something now.
As someone who's been vegan for a long time, for ages, it was basically impossible to find somewhere that even did a vegan manicure. Yeah.
There's so little transparency around what they're actually using.
Yes.
And I think a lot of it is because they actually don't know themselves. It's not that they don't care.
It's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah. It takes time and research to really know what you're actually using. And you've got to care about it in the first place, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so then you decided you wanted to open a salon and you wanted it to be vegan and planet friendly. Was that that was the whole basis of it?
Yeah.
What was it that actually gave you the push to do it? Because a lot of people have these great ideas.
Yeah.
What was the moment where you're like, it's happening? It's in motion?
To be honest, it was just working with loads of other salons and it started being I can do this, and I feel dare I say it, I can do it better. And then it was, okay, I was vegan before that, but then it actually didn't come into my mind that it wasn't a thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I was like, oh my God, vegan salons aren't actually a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't I just make it a thing? And then it became trying to find a place, and it took 2 years. It took a long time to find the location. And then I just thought, I found the location, I've just got to do it, and took a risk. And that was it, really. There was no real thought behind it. I think if I'd have thought, I might have not done it.
I know that. I feel all my best decisions come from we don't think about it too much, because then you won't. Inaction will come from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, on paper, probably at the time wasn't the best idea, because I'm using all my savings to start my business.
And when was it that you opened?
So this is another part of it. We technically opened on the 2nd of February 2020.
Which
everyone knows is probably the worst time to have opened a business.
So it is huge congratulations that you're still going.
Honestly, I still sometimes can't believe it.
Yeah. That is wild.
I know. And so we were open actually for, I think it was exactly 4 weeks, or just 4 weeks and a couple of days, because we got closed super early because Westminster was one of the worst places for COVID at the time in London. So we were advised.
Because of all the parties going on.
Yeah, exactly. So we were advised to close.
Yeah.
So we closed even before it was actually a lockdown. Wow. We thought it was going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As most people did.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
With your salon, I kind of want to paint a picture for people who haven't been there. You go in, it's very wooden, reclaimed furniture, isn't it? Very floral, a lot of plants.
Yep.
I've had to water the plants before, so I can confirm there are a lot of real plants,
Yep.
Which is very good, much better than fake plants. It just looks like a normal boutique-y salon, basically.
Yeah.
And the name is Lacquered and Stripped. So there's nothing there where if you first come in, really, you're like, this is vegan.
Yeah.
And was that very intentional, where you're like, I'm going to make a business that doesn't look vegan?
Yeah, because I thought if I was going to open a salon, firstly, it's got to have a cool name, and I always thought Lacquered and Stripped is quite a cool name.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what does it mean? Why? And I'm just like, nails and waxing. That was the initial plan. And then I was like, well, I could put Lacquered and Stripped vegan salon, and then I just thought that sounded a bit try hard.
Yeah, it
you know
sounds
what I
a bit
mean?
vegan.
Yeah. And what I like about it is like, obviously when you look at the sign, it does say planet friendly underneath, but I think most people actually go in there because it looks nice.
Yeah.
Probably even before they know it's planet friendly and vegan. They find that out kind of as they're getting the treatments done. Or obviously if you found us on Instagram or whatever, you'll know that. So that was intentional because I thought if I make it too in your face, I think some people just automatically not try it.
Yeah, it's off-putting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird because like veganism, it's had its boom and people do see it as a good and sustainable thing. But I think especially in the beauty world, it's not always synonymous with quality, I guess, still.
Yes.
People still think there's a sacrifice there, even though all your treatments are amazing and you've got so many clients that aren't vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say probably most of our clients aren't vegan.
And don't care about like the sustainability aspect either.
I guess so. Like I've never gone to each one and been like, are you vegan? But I was about to say you can tell when you see a vegan, but that's really bad. That's not what I mean. But you can kind of like someone who's vegan asks more questions.
Yeah.
That's what I will say. Normally when a client comes in and they learn later on that it's vegan, normally actually the first thing they say is it's cruelty free. I think that's more important than being vegan to a lot of people that aren't vegan. Yeah. And then the fact that it's vegan is kind of secondary to them. So that's kind of how I tell when they're not. But also it's just, I think the fact that you've got a business where like the products are really good quality. As you said, most people have this preconception that vegan, cruelty-free is made in someone's kitchen.
Yeah.
And
or
organic.
like it's, very organic, very natural, no chemicals that actually work.
Yep.
So that's generally what I think a lot of the regular people will think if they saw vegan salon.
Yeah.
Like, that's for the hippies.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like one of my fears actually opening that. I didn't want to isolate people. I wanted to make sure it was inclusive of everyone, even if they're not vegan. And that's the whole point. Like you can go to the salon and actually know that you haven't kind of done a naughty thing because the salon's sorted it out for you.
How many layers does it go into, like being vegan, planet friendly with your business? So obviously the products, like every product?
Every product.
Every product.
So it took me probably a year to really find every single product for every single service.
Which one was the final?
The final and the hardest was probably vegan lash lift.
Okay.
Because we know like the brand that everyone knows, and a lot of people don't know that it's not vegan.
Yeah.
It's cruelty free, but it's not vegan.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, I need to find another one. And then the other brand that's really well known that is vegan, to get it done, I think you can get it done in Harrods. It's like £95.
Okay.
Just for the lift without the tint. I don't know. Most people aren't going to pay that.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest one to find. And then I did find a company, and for a while we kept it. It worked really well, and then until we realised that people were more allergic to it than the normal one, because obviously the more natural product, the more likely allergies will come about.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so then we found another one, and that's been like the one that I'm always scared of.
Okay.
So, because it's so natural, you're more likely to have an allergy to it.
Okay.
Which is an interesting fact that many people probably didn't need to know. But there you go.
Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah, I've learned something new.
Yeah, the more natural product, the more likely you're going to be allergic to it.
Oh, I guess it's just because when things are synthetic, you're going to try and create them to be more allergy-free.
I don't really know why. I guess so. But I just know that, like, obviously, if you're allergic to nuts or fruit or, I don't know, dairy, for example, some people can't even touch certain things. So they're just more likely to have an allergic reaction to it. That was the hardest, I would say.
And then it's also down to your drinks as well. And like, I've been to your luge, you've got the Who Gives a Crap toilet paper. Literally every step of the journey is with the planet in mind.
Exactly. So the planet friendly part is probably the hardest. The vegan is a little bit easier.
I think it's because it's so binary. It's either vegan or it's not, whereas planet friendly is...
You've got to actually look into the company and who you're buying from and who owns the company. All of these things are a factor. And that was probably the hardest. Originally, we actually used to do hair. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Ages ago. Of course you do, actually. You were, you do know that. It feels like it was so long ago. I'm like, don't know if you know that. Oh, yeah, it's just a year ago. So when we did hair, that was even harder because you even had to think about the foil and like...
Oh, okay.
How you're recycling the foil. Is it done sustainably? Is the company you're using actually doing it properly?
You recycled like your hair, didn't you? Not your hair, but all the hair that was cut. You didn't recycle that.
Yeah. So I find like with beauty, it's a little bit easier because it's more black and white.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is the least sustainable thing about a salon, a beauty salon, is the amount of water they use.
Okay.
So we use very little water in general. Like all of our treatments are dry, even our manicures are dry.
Okay.
So that obviously takes away that element. So a lot of people will be like, oh, how come you don't soak in your manicure? Well, Also, you don't need to.
Yeah.
It's just a nice thing to do. But also, it's bad for the planet. You don't need to use that water. So just have a dry manicure.
I never even clocked that.
Yeah. And then our pedicures, we don't have taps on the pedicure station. If that's because we can just fill it to the right amount without water waste.
Okay.
So that's all like a factor. So that's probably makes it a bit easier than hair. Hair was complicated.
You offered like everything. So I think it makes sense, claim it back a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wild breadth of beauty treatments you offer, were you just wanting to be that hub for any beauty treatment, any vegan wants, they can come here and get it?
Yeah. That is pretty much the thought behind it. I never really thought about it in the sense of making it as easy as possible. It was more like, what would I want? Like everything about the salon is, what would I want? I'd want to go to one place to be able to get my lashes, my nails, my brows.
Because you're your ideal customer.
Yeah.
Because you saw the gap. You're like, I need this. I'm going to create it.
I always thought when I first opened the salon, a couple of treatments would drop off the list. Because, like maybe they would be popular.
Yeah,
or...
so you're like, I can test run this.
Yeah.
But they're all popular.
Yeah, which is hilarious, but also great, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, like normally when one person comes, and usually I would say most people start with nails because you can obviously, when you walk past the salon, you see the nails. And on Instagram, it's the easiest thing to promote.
Yeah.
So most people start with nails, and once they know we do brows, they'll be like, oh, can I get my brows threaded? Oh, can I get a lash lift? Can I get lash extensions? So it naturally just evolves into them trying everything.
That was literally me. You literally described me.
Yeah. I was thinking about you. Facial, massage. Like, yeah, literally. If you want to just spend a day in the salon, you can easily do that and not
100%.
Get bored.
Yeah. I've been very close to doing that on days before as well. And I'm like, oh my God, Nicole, you need a break to eat at least.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe how many things you had. I was struggling to find a place to get a vegan manicure, and then suddenly I found your place and I'm like, oh, I can get everything all of a sudden.
Because that was the one thing. Do you know what? It was always nails. That was the thing I went into it most naive about, actually.
Okay.
And the reason being is I used to just get gel paint on my nails. But as soon as I went vegan, it was like, okay, there's no options for me now.
Yeah.
So when I opened the salon, we were just going to do gel. And then High Chin came along, the famous High Chin. And
she's the most senior nail tech at your salon, yes.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, what about hard gel? What about acrogel? And I was like, okay. I never thought about that. I didn't know anything about it. I was completely naive to that side of the industry. She knew more about that than me. All I knew is that we couldn't do acrylic because of the brush.
Yes, I was about to say, I'd learnt this from you. So acrylic nails can never be vegan because to put them on, the brush hairs have to be...
mink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you go to a salon and they're like, it's vegan, so the product can be vegan. And most companies will market their product as vegan because it is, right?
Yeah.
But they don't sell the brush or they don't talk about the brush. So therefore, kind of, it's a bit sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to a salon that's vegan, they might not even really clock it. So I never judge people for it, but you've just got to think about those kind of things when you're opening a business. You can't risk it. Even down to what people sit on. I wanted to make sure it had no leather. I had all of these things were so small to other people, but to me it was huge because I was like, I just want the whole experience to be vegan.
Yeah, and also we're all scared of the vegan police. You don't want someone coming in let's cancel Lacquered and Strip because they have a leather sofa.
It's the fear. Honestly, I remember when we first opened, this client came in and she worked for a really well-known brand, I won't mention, nail brand. And she was 100% sent there to try and catch us out.
Oh, really?
And she was like, oh, but you use Gelish, which is a brand we use in the salon. That can't be vegan. I was like, oh, yeah, it is. It's vegan, cruelty-free, and it's made in America. And she was like, oh. But she really came in to properly catch us out. And that was scary for me. I was like, oh, my gosh, I need to check everything.
That, you were like, cool.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So we've had a few of those where we've got undercover people, salon owners that want to be vegan that I've found out later were pretending to be clients, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I guess you got to do your research, but it's just scary when it's a brand because you're like, oh my gosh, this is big companies coming to try and catch us out, and we were like, no, we passed the test, it's fine.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's why I'm so particular about it.
Just when we were talking about nails, and you were like, I wanted to make sure we had all nail options for people. It's also amazing to see all the shades you have because obviously as a black woman, you're like, I am sick of going to places where you can't find a nude shade.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's hilarious. I used to think that it was normal to go into a salon and have 50 options. 50 sounds like a lot. It's not. It's really not. That's actually my obsession. Anyone who's at the salon will tell you, Laurie buys a new nail polish colour, at least maybe 10 a month.
Yeah, we're out of space. I feel like I need to remind you there's no space left.
I keep getting told, we're going to have to put up new shelves. But the thing is, what I love about it, and I sometimes panic because I feel like it's quite wasteful. And obviously that's part of what we're doing is not being wasteful. But the other day, for my own curiosity, I checked and every single colour has been used at least once.
Oh,
even the really ugly glitter ones.
I've probably used the really ugly glitter one.
I think Christmas, like, you get away with it. But that was always like a fear of mine. I'm like, I'm just wasting money and I'm just buying things we don't need. But I think having choice is one of the things that when you're a vegan, you don't have much of.
No.
So when you go...
It's actually very overwhelming when we get a choice.
Yeah.
I know you're about to say it's wonderful that we've got a place where we can choose things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Exactly. But the colour's my favourite thing. Like, I sometimes just look at them and I'm just like, oh, this is so nice. Like, just looking at all the options, I'm like, this is great. Satisfying.
And then have there been any parts of the process where you've had to make compromises?
I was about to say the staff not being vegan. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, because people have asked you that as well, haven't they? Like, are all your staff vegan?
Yeah, gosh, if I really thought like that, I'd have no one working for me.
Just me.
Just
now and then.
Exactly. And to be fair, we do have Dee, who's vegan. She's
is she?
our new nail tech.
I didn't know she was vegan.
Yeah, she's vegan.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, I mean that's 1 out of 9. But do you know what? I think that's like, no, I haven't really had to compromise majorly. Actually, that's like cost is probably where I've had to compromise, because what people don't realise, and I feel really bad, like we try to not raise our prices as much as possible. But obviously we're in a cost of living crisis. And if a business raises their prices, because most of the business we use aren't massive businesses because they're usually UK based or US based, but they're not big huge companies with loads of backing, they do have to put up their prices, which of course means then we do. So I say that's probably the compromise, that I'd love to be even more affordable, but I feel like we're as affordable as we can be.
Yeah, no, I know.
Without compromising on the products.
Yeah, because you are a very like boutique-y salon, and obviously everything's very good quality, very sustainable. I feel like your prices are still very competitive for your area, and
we try to be. Like, I always look at other businesses around the area to make sure, like, we might be a couple of pounds more, sometimes we're less, but where we can cut costs, we do. But I never want to compromise on what people experience and the longevity of whatever they're doing, like, especially nails. Like, that's so important. If you get a gel manicure and it chips within a day, you're going to be annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to use expensive products, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately. Fortunately, because you want to keep the quality, but unfortunately for a business, your margins are much smaller than maybe cheaper salons. You know, it is what it is. Like, I feel like people come to us and they know that they are getting good quality at least.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of your clients are actually there for the quality rather than the vegan thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor. We had to have that. We couldn't be expensive and then also just offering an average service, but be like, the products are really great. So you have to have both.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's probably been the hardest thing, I would say. Like, you can't just slash prices because you want to. You have to think about every single margin and making sure that we're making a profit at least, because obviously we're a business at the end of the day.
So with your customer base, who are you trying to get into your salon? Is it just the regular person? Do you ever try and attract people based on like the whole eco thing, or?
Do you know what? At first, we really did. Like, we pushed being vegan, we pushed being an eco salon. And then I feel like it's become like part of us that we don't even really talk about it enough. Okay. Like, that is one thing I'm always like, right, we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, our client we're trying to attract is just your average person. I know it sounds really boring, but I think the whole idea is the more people that come through your door without the idea of it being vegan and cruelty-free and learning while they're there, or at least thinking, gosh, that treatment was really good, I've never had that before, or this is something new, and finding out then it's vegan, cruelty-free is great, because that spreads the word. You don't need to offer a service or use a product that's just well known.
Yes.
But there's you're essentially it's been tested on animals, or it contains something it doesn't need to contain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just being as accessible to everyone as we can.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that you can do with beauty that, like, a food business can never do. You can't really trick people into, like, hey, you didn't know it was vegan.
Yeah, exactly.
But you actually have that power there where you can be a bit more discreet about it.
Yeah, and what I find quite funny, actually, is when most people who come in, just walking off the street, and they're just like, oh, this is nice, I'm going to book my nails here, let's say. They come in, and then they find out later it's vegan. They'll then try to justify why they're not vegan. I'm just like, you don't need to do that. It's okay. Like, the whole point is that we're not judgy. And I was like, also, you're getting your nails done by Hai Chin, who's 100% not vegan. Yeah. And she will tell you about it.
Sometimes it's like, Hai Chin, it's a vegan salon.
I mean, I guess, like, age-wise, like, we want everyone as well. Like, we just want everyone to try it.
Yeah.
And experience it.
I also think it's like, sometimes I'll talk about dating and like I prefer prefer to date non-vegans because you can make them more vegan. It's kind of like when you're going for your customers, you're like, oh, it's quite good when it's the non-vegans because I've made part of their day a bit more sustainable. And you're like, cool, I've changed someone here a little bit.
Exactly. And do you know what? I do feel like we've had some customers that genuinely, it's quite funny, their journey learning, like they just come to the salon, let's say, just because if they live in the area, and then you start to talk to them more about just life, and then you start to find out that they're trying to actually introduce more vegan practices or sustainable practices into their life, which is really nice. And sometimes I'm like, is that because they're just influenced by like how easy it is? Because, you know, like as you were saying, back in the day, to get your nails done at a vegan salon was hard.
Yeah, you'd probably have to buy your own products, take it in,
bring it in,
and then be like, please, like, because most salons would be like, we can only use our products, and you'd just be like, please, for the love of God, vegan, help me out.
Yeah, so it's just showing how easy it is to just put these little things, little practices into your life without it actually impacting quality. So I think that's a big thing about veganism. Same as food. People always think, oh, it's not as good, it doesn't taste as good, it's not as whatever, which is not true, by the way. But obviously it has that preconception.
Yeah. Would you ever consider kind of like putting together a guide for other salons if they wanted to even just start offering vegan options? Because it's kind of like that thing where you were mentioning about acrylics earlier, that they just get so, like, if you're not an expert in it, and not everyone can be, like, you can so easily get misled and missold products
100%.
And taken advantage of as an owner. So would you ever consider putting out a guide? And just
when I first opened, I wanted to create a guide for just sustainable businesses in general, like how to become a sustainable business, how to change your business to be sustainable, and obviously vegan being part of that. I think the hardest part, and why I probably never got round to it, is because it's long.
Yeah.
I never have time. But it is something I would love to do. A handful of times I've had salons message us on Instagram and say, oh, what product do you use? We're trying to be more sustainable, or we want to introduce a vegan lash lift. What product do you use? So that's really nice. Yeah. And we're not the kind of salon that we're going to hold secrets.
You're not a gatekeeper.
No. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, the more salons that are vegan and sustainable, the better it is for the planet. I don't see why some business might be like, oh, I'm not going to tell them that. No, it's great.
Yeah, because there aren't even, like, London's a big vegan sustainable hub, really. There are so many different businesses, but there really aren't that many vegan beauty salon spots. There are a couple of nail bars beyond yours, but like, and a few hairdressers too, but there aren't many. No. There aren't as many as you'd expect, considering how many ads you see for vegan food in January. Yeah. You'd think there'd be more, but...
Yeah, I think it's a cost thing, to be honest. I think opening a salon is not cheap anyway, but then realizing that you're gonna not make maybe as much money as other beauty businesses or beauty salons, you've got to be doing it for the love. Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do it. Or they might have some of it that's vegan. They might have a vegan facial. That's like a popular one I keep seeing, vegan facial.
If I saw that from a non-vegan salon there, I'd be like, what about, like, I would ask so many questions. I wouldn't trust them that much, especially knowing as much as I do. I'd be like, yes, can you send me a list of all the products you use? And I'll just double check.
Exactly. Yeah. It is difficult. And I think a lot of, like, what the hardest part is, there's probably not as many new businesses opening because of the current climate. So that's also harder. I think if it was cheaper, easier, more accessible to open a business, maybe we'd have more vegan and cruelty-free salons. Yeah. But I think that's a factor. And then obviously being a salon that's existed for, let's say, 10 years, it's very expensive to suddenly get rid of all your products and bring in new vegan ones.
This is true, yeah.
So I think that's why it's probably a bit harder than just, like, starting fresh. It's much easier to start fresh vegan or cruelty-free or whatever your focus is than it is to try and change your business. That's probably a big factor.
Oh, that's so interesting. And then with, like, being planet friendly and all that, have you got any certifications for the salon? Have you looked into any certifications? Have you, like, what choices have you made there?
So, do you know what? We have got certifications, but for me, they're not even, I don't even take them that seriously, which is quite bad, because I just don't think, there isn't a body that makes you sustainable, or, like, there's obviously you can become a B Corp, but to become a B Corp as a small business is very hard.
And very expensive.
Very expensive. We looked into it and I was just like, no, that's not going to happen. So I gave up on that idea. And then, so there are a couple of things that we do, obviously, we offset all of our carbon emissions. So we're completely carbon neutral. Oh, wow. That's probably the best thing I can say. The rest of it is a bit like, it's just a sticker you get. I know that sounds really bad. But something I was really passionate about and something I would love to do in the future is creating a body, like a vegan and cruelty-free certification for beauty salons.
Oh, okay.
Or beauty businesses.
And then you could, like, certify the whole salon or even just treatments.
Exactly. Because I think we don't have anything concrete that really, like, you can 100% trust. So for me, like you were saying, if I went to a salon and they have, I don't know, a cruelty-free facial or
Yeah.
cruelty-free massage, which they all should be, by the way. But let's say that's how they're promoting it.
Yeah.
You don't 100% trust it.
Yeah.
But if you go to a vegan cruelty-free salon, you do, because you know that everything
Yes.
should be vegan and cruelty-free. So yeah, that would be something that I think is missing from the industry that I would love to be involved in. The business that I told you about earlier that I used to work for, the booking system, when I worked there, they were going to introduce it,
Okay.
and then it never happened.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so if they're listening, I would love if they just introduced it. So
Yeah.
that would make everyone's life easier.
Yeah, because I've looked when I'm trying to book manicures online. I've tried to search, and you can't even search by product at a lot
No.
of these things. So I was like, oh, if only I could even just search like a gel manicure and then look for a brand that I knew was vegan. But you can't. There's not even these tools, so it's
No.
very frustrating.
It is, and it's really hard. And I think a lot of the companies that are out there want you to pay to join,
Oh,
which
yeah.
kind of defeats the point. Like if
Well,
I had,
it does cost money to
Obviously,
maintain a certification and things.
of course, but I think there's a way around it. And there's a way that if it were a non-profit business, that it would be a lot more easier. But I know that's very hard. But it's, I mean, maybe when I have some time, I'll create it.
So we'll be waiting on that.
Yeah, it could be a
okay.
little while.
Oh my gosh. No, that sounds like a really cool idea though. I always love a certification. I think
Yeah.
it just gives so much assurance to whoever's booking things, and there's so much greenwashing, vegan washing,
Yeah.
all the like. So
Yeah.
I love the sound of that.
It'd be great. Like even if I suppose like Leaping Bunny did it for salons, that'd be cool. Ones that already exist, that would help. But I
Yeah.
think, one day, I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
There are so many things you expect will happen. But I've seen on, I think it's Cult Beauty recently, they've added a transparency layer. So when someone's making these claims, you then go to the bottom, you click this tab, and it will tell you what certifications they have, or like just tell you that it's been verified. So you can shop a bit more informed. And
That's cool.
Yeah, I really like that. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we do get more transparency across a few different
Yeah.
platforms.
I think it will have to happen because
Yeah.
there's only so much people can claim before people are like, hold on a minute. So I think eventually it will become more of a thing.
Yeah, but right now people can just claim and
I know, it's quite
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. If anyone out there is looking to start a business, do you have any top tips?
So I would say it is very hard.
Okay, let's just be honest.
I'm
yeah.
going to be completely honest. It's super, super hard. But I would say just do something you love because that makes it easier.
Yeah.
If I didn't love this industry and love the people I work with, I'd probably not be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard. So make sure you love it, but also do your research because you need to find your USP, you need to find your niche. There needs to be, especially if it's a bricks and mortar, like you can't
Yeah.
just open a business and let's say you're opening a vegan coffee shop. There has to be a reason why. You have to be
Yeah.
in the right area. There has to be all of these things that are relevant to why you're opening your business. And particularly as a salon, not only was I obviously looking at a vegan, cruelty-free, sustainable salon, I had to make sure that there was not that sort of competition in the area.
Yeah.
So originally I was meant to open in East London and I was about to pay for the down payment on it and everything. And then I was like, why am I doing this? There's like 5 different vegan
Yeah.
businesses around me. Okay, we can be the best. But you have to think about all these things and making sure you stand out from the crowd.
No, that's really interesting. I like that. I mean, I wish you were in East London. That is fine.
We were
Nice to go
so
west.
close. And actually a salon opened where we were going to open. They're not vegan and cruelty free. But,
Yeah.
that's exactly why we didn't open there.
At least now I know, because I always thought that was a bit weird because that's where all the vegans are typically, or like a lot of the vegan things are.
Yeah.
And then you're just like a Marble Arch, which is
I know.
Yeah.
Not vegan and cruelty free. Not really.
no, it's not really like known for that. No,
But it's easy to travel to.
it is.
So that was my logic. It was like there's no one around that's doing what we're doing, but also if you want to travel and come
Yeah.
to the salon, which we get so many people that like where we are is not cheap to live, right? So I feel like most people our age group probably don't live there, and if they do, great, lucky them.
Yeah, lucky them.
Wish I could too. Like a lot of the people that come to our salon are travelling from all around London, or even sometimes outside London. So that's why I think Marble Arch is like a good spot.
Okay, yeah, because it's near Paddington and
Yeah, easy transport links, all of that. See, you have to think about all these things.
It is. Yeah, it sounds. How many months did you do research for? Like, how did you know you'd done enough research?
I still feel like I haven't done enough research to this day. There's always something new I'm learning. But it took 2 years. So from the idea, I actually probably took 3 years from the idea. I had the idea for a year, sat on it, talked to my parents, was like, I really want to open this business.
Sometimes it is good to let them linger.
Yeah, and make sure that it's what people want. And I would mention it to my friends and be like, yeah, that's cool.
And the fact that you didn't get bored of the idea after a year as well.
Because I do come up with a lot of ideas that now have never happened. So that's probably true. But yeah, telling my parents that I'm going to put all my money into this, and my dad being like,
you sure?
He never said anything. And then when it came to like the crunch, and he was like, you know what, I'll help you.
Aww.
And then that's when I knew, right, okay, let's do this. 3 years altogether, 2 years of actually like getting the lease sorted. That took forever. And then actually getting everything in place to opening. That was 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how did you even like factor in even the timelines? Do you just have to be super flexible?
Yeah, like I thought it was going to take maybe about 8 months from the day I found the property, because it all starts there, right? You've got the idea. I pitched for it. Where we are, it's like it's owned by a particular, I don't want to say who they are, but it's owned by a particular well-known thing, let's put it that way.
Okay.
And you can't just rent a property there. You have to go and pitch to them and make sure that it's the right business for their area, and make sure you're attracting the right clientele for that particular area. Yeah. So the area is Connaught Village, for anyone that doesn't know.
It is a very nice like boutique-y, independent
and they don't want
area.
chains. They don't want big businesses that plan to become a chain either.
Yeah.
So I had to do like 2 meetings to make sure I even got the chance to even lease it.
Wow.
So then when I got to that point, I then knew, right, here's the money. A lot of money up front, so that was quite painful.
Yeah.
A couple of years of living very basically, put it that way. And then I thought, okay, well that's it now. We're going to open in we're going to open in a couple of months. No, it was a year from then.
A year?
Yeah.
Wow. Were you paying rent on that for a whole year? Or? No.
So it just took a year to get the process done, lawyers, all of that. And then we basically had a rent-free period because we were really lucky. So that was in January. Thank goodness it coincided with the first lockdown. So we didn't have to pay rent until we opened back in July.
Oh, that's good.
So we were really lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses didn't have that. But yeah, so that whole process was it was intense and it was stressful. And I spent many nights crying thinking this is never going to happen.
Oh.
So when I get to walk into the salon, I'm just so grateful. But it's even still there after the pandemic as well.
Yeah, it must be so hard because I have seen so many businesses kind of have to shut shop basically over the last year or so.
The next 6 months to a year, I think it's going to be really hard for businesses. So yeah, people support your local businesses.
Yeah. Why do you think people should support like the independent businesses, the small businesses?
The main thing is there's real people behind it. And I think sometimes we forget, and this is one of the things I have to say, that I get angry with clients, love clients, obviously. You are the reason our business is there. But they forget that we're a small business. And every little thing we do, there's thought behind it. And I think it's the same for any small business. Like at the end of the day, it's part of them, it's part of the person. So for me, I am part of the salon.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I actually get offended sometimes when someone's not happy with something. I'm like, what? Or I get upset when we get a bad review because it feels like part of me and it feels like criticism of me. Sometimes you've got to take yourself out of that. But that's why it's so important to support small businesses, because I think people forget there's real people who rely on that income. That is literally all they have to survive and live. They haven't got big funding. They probably have loans. They probably have things that they have to pay for. If you can support your local business, you 100% should. Whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's a salon, whether it's a clothing shop, like you should make the effort to think about them before going to a big corporation.
Yeah, because there's always so much heart and soul in a business like this. It's so lovely to see all the thought and the care go into it, and it's a completely different experience. And like, also, we're in this huge wealth inequality right now, and I'm like, who would I rather my money go to, especially when the price difference isn't even that great? I know like sometimes you have to choose the big companies because they are just so competitively priced, but when there isn't that much of a difference, it's like, go support the independents, because where do you want your money going? Do you want your money going to the corporations that don't pay tax and already have billionaires at the top of it? Like, I don't want to fund more billionaires. If I can avoid it, like, I will choose to avoid it.
Yeah, and the money that we make literally goes to the staff. Like, that's it. Like, obviously the products and stuff. Yeah. But it's not like we're making huge profits and I'm driving around in a Ferrari. I wish, guys, please. I drive my smart car. But, you know, like the reality is like that money is going to the people that work there, the people that they interact with every time they go for their treatment. So it's a lot more personal, and I just think it's a nicer experience. Yeah.
And also one thing that I really love about your salon, which has nothing to do with like being vegan or planet friendly, but you've got a really good environment there with who you've hired, the way your staff treat each other. It's just a good vibe, really. Just like, how did you manage that for anyone who struggles with recruitment, which I imagine is an issue? Like, how did you manage to create a good workplace environment?
Do you know what? I wish there was a clear answer to this.
Okay.
It's completely luck. Like, genuinely.
I can't believe it's completely luck.
I don't know. Well, okay. So I think part of it is pay, right?
Okay.
This is really important. And I think this is something that people forget about businesses. We have to pay our staff, right?
Yeah.
So we have to look at what we're paying people, because if you pay them nothing, then you're not going to get the quality that you want.
Yeah.
So I knew from day one, I knew what I got paid when I first started, and I was paid very well, considering I'd just been in the industry for 5 minutes. But I was so dedicated to that company because I was paid well.
And you're like, I'm getting paid better here than I would at many a salon. So
I'm going to work hard.
Yeah, I want to keep this job.
Yeah, so that was always a factor. That's how it started, just making sure that we were paying fairly and above fair. And then I think it just came to the people we initially had working with us, like Hai Chin is, as I mentioned her before, and Saskia. Saskia is the amazing beauty therapist we have. They've been working there for so long, and then we've got a man who's brilliant. And it was like each person that we added took the standard up. So it made it harder to hire people because because we knew we've got to keep this standard.
Yeah.
But then it also made it really nice when people of that standard came along and were like, I want to work with these people because I can see the work that they're doing and I want to learn from them, or I really enjoy like being able to talk about what I'm interested in. And it was never intentional, but it happened to work really well. And genuinely, everyone there is lovely. Like, I'm not even just saying that, they are.
Yeah.
Everyone's a lovely person there.
I take this very, very kindly, considering
Yes.
I also...
Well, that's even like whoever
now.
you have on reception as well. Like,
Yeah.
that's so important. You've got to have people that are nice and friendly. Like, you can't have someone who's amazing at their job but hates human beings.
I love sitting on reception, like the chit chats and like
Yeah.
seeing everyone's nails as they come out. This is how I end up getting so many treatments as well. I'd be like, oh my God, your brows look amazing. What did you get? Oh my God, I'm going to book him.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Yeah, that was actually probably a bit dangerous for me.
Yeah, and now you're hooked. But we love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. I think like you've really got to think about like who you want to work with and who like I love being in the salon.
Yeah.
I genuinely enjoy my day when I'm in there. And I miss everyone when I'm not there.
Yeah, and that would be a red flag, isn't it? If you're a business owner and you don't want to spend a day at your own business, something's gone wrong.
Yeah, something's gone very wrong. But I think sadly in our industry, a lot of people just hire people because they're good and don't think about like the repercussion of if they don't get along with certain people, all of that. It's all very important to get along with who you work with. It makes your day easier as well.
It is one of those like to and fro's, because sometimes you are just, when you need staff, you need staff.
Oh, it's happened. Like, obviously, I'm not going to name and shame anyone, but we've had people that have lasted 5 minutes at the salon because they just don't fit in.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're not good at what they do. Basically, if you're not willing to get along with your team, you almost isolate yourself.
Yeah.
And they would end up leaving, nothing to do with anyone else, because I think they could see, oh, this is actually different to where I've worked before. Like, everyone gets on, everyone's really nice. Why?
Everyone's supporting each other.
Yeah, and they were like, I don't really like it. I'm used to working somewhere where I don't talk to my colleagues.
Yeah.
So we've had people that just didn't last, and they might have been amazing, but they just didn't work out.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And like you say, it's just not the right fit. No one's in the wrong. It's just
No, exactly.
doesn't
It
gel.
just didn't work.
Okay. To round things off, because I know we need to finish soon, what would you like to see in the beauty industry? What would you like to see change in the next like 5-10 years? Or even in the salon side of things, beyond this little certification we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, certification 100%. I would say that I would like all businesses to be vegan and cruelty-free.
Yeah.
Beauty businesses, because it's so easy.
Yeah. What would be your new niche? Would you just...
I don't know, probably.
You're like, oh no, now we're out of business.
It's probably a really bad idea for me to say that, but I just think it should be like thinking of it as in a less selfish way. Like if the world was more interested in sustainability and veganism and that kind of thing, it would make life easier for all the vegans, obviously, but also it just makes it more accessible. I mean, vegans still have a bad rap. Like, let's be honest, we all have a bad rap. Like,
I
sometimes
literally got booed at a comedy club last night when I said I was vegan. Yeah, we get. no one likes us still.
Yeah, like I literally. People are surprised when I say I'm vegan because I just don't talk about it. Apart from having a vegan and cruelty-free salon.
You're like, but I don't talk about it.
But I'm not like, oh, I'm a vegan. And they're like, oh. And I really am not fussy. But what I would love is that if everywhere just took away that thought for everyone, not just for vegans, but for every single part of the industry, you don't need to test on animals. That's like the basic, right?
Yeah.
If we just got rid of that, that would be amazing.
I think that is happening. I'm hoping
It's getting there for sure. Like, it's better than when I first started. It's like I think some companies were like, they have to. I know obviously the whole China thing is a factor, selling in China, but some companies even that didn't sell in China felt like they still had to test on animals for people to feel safe to use the products.
Yeah.
That's going. So I'm glad about that.
I don't understand how like putting a lipstick on a bunny makes anything safer for me.
I know, I don't get the logic. But yeah, if every business was vegan and cruelty-free and sustainable, beauty, let's talk only about beauty, then I think it will just change the industry in general. It will make life easier. So I would say that would probably be the one thing I would love. Don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. And also, final thing.
Yeah.
If there were any salon owners or maybe even broader business owners here listening, what would be like your top 3 tips on becoming more sustainable? Like 3 quick swaps.
Okay. So I would say favourite one, the toilet paper.
I knew you were going to go with the toilet paper.
But it's so easy. People don't realise that it's genuinely buying those big brands is quite bad for the planet.
Yeah.
So think about like those small things like your toilet paper. I would say
buying like plastic-free toilet paper.
100%,
basically.
exactly.
Okay, and sustainably sourced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say then probably the drinks you're serving.
Okay.
Okay, because this is like a small thing, but I'm talking about salons that do drinks or businesses that do drinks. But like, look at the businesses you're buying from. Are they owned by a big corporation that haven't got the best reputation in terms of sustainability? And water waste. That's like the worst thing for any business. It doesn't matter if you're a salon, doesn't matter if you're a shop, cafe. Water waste is one of the main reasons why a business isn't sustainable. So look at like your energy supply, the taps you're using, if you're a hairdresser, you know, the shower heads that you're using when you're washing the hair. Like all those small things make such a difference.
Okay.
So that would be my top 3.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that you came out with like 3 so fast as well.
Yeah, so am I.
I was like, I should have prepped you on this one, but no, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, this seems like a good spot to wrap up. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it actually has. It's very good. Yeah, and thank you all for listening. Please do leave us a review. I've really enjoyed the reviews that have come in so far, so keep them coming. Really love that. As a small new podcast, it's really helped support and keeping this going. So thank you for everyone that's done that already, and please keep at it. Make sure you subscribe to it. Oh, and I also have extra episodes on my Patreon every week. So I think this week, I mentioned it earlier, I think I've done an episode on why I don't date vegan men.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was a fun one, wasn't it? Yeah, so head over to the Patreon. It's early bird access, £3 a month, and then it's just £5 a month after that. So hope to see you over there. Thank you so much for listening. Have a lovely day. Bye.